this video, I'm going to share with you 10 reasons you're going to love living in Hudson Square. Hudson Square is considered technically like West Soho. So because of that, you are right next to Soho, main Soho, and also West Village and Tribeca. So you're basically in the hub of so many of these really trendy, great spots to be downtown. The location cannot get any better. Hudson Square is also a waterfront neighborhood. Within a few minutes, you can walk easily to the West Side waterfront, and the parks there are incredibly gorgeous, and the views there are also amazing. So I always say that I love waterfront neighborhoods because there's something about not being landlocked in New York City that just makes you feel like you're able to at least get a fresh of breath air every so often. And I would say that Hudson Square definitely has one of the best waterfronts in New York City. Hudson Square is also a very quiet neighborhood for the most part. Now, there's not a ton of action going on there throughout the day. Only recently there started to be like a lot of development there in Hudson Square. Now, the only time where it's not as quiet is actually during the day when they're doing some construction, because there is a lot of new construction that's going on there. But for the most part, and if you're not living right on top of that, it's a very like quiet, subtle neighborhood. This also brings me to my next point, which is all the new developments coming up in the neighborhood. If somebody says that they're interested in new developments and they want to be on the west side, Hudson Square is definitely going to be a neighborhood that I would suggest to them because there are so many really great options there. And it's not always easy to find new development in Manhattan. There's not a ton of it at all, especially compared to other cities around the world. So in my opinion, I also think that Hudson Square has some underrated, really nice dining spots. Because it's not really so much of a famous neighborhood, that some of these places don't get the press that they deserve. So I do think that if you want some low-key, really great dining spots, I do have some recommendations for you in Hudson Square. Even though that Hudson Square is next to these other neighborhoods like West Village, Soho, and Tribeca, there's not a lot of tourist traffic that goes directly through Hudson Square. You don't really see tourists there. Most of the people that you see going through Hudson Square either live in the neighborhood or are working there in the neighborhood. Because of that, there's really no tourist traffic, which is really great. So because there is so much new development going into Hudson Square and also new businesses coming into the neighborhood as well, there's going to be a lot of appreciation for property values that happens in Hudson Square over the next 10-20 years for sure. So Disney is in the process of opening a huge, massive office in Hudson Square. Typically when you see gigantic companies like that coming into a neighborhood, the appreciation is going to be crazy. You can't always predict appreciation in real estate, but typically when something like that happens, the trends are in your favor from an appreciation standpoint. So I would say for a very quiet neighborhood, the subway options aren't really that bad there. So you can find a train directly in Hudson Square, and then if you wanted to take a particular train, you could either walk further into Soho or the West Village or Tribeca, depending on what train you're trying to get on or where you live in the neighborhood. But overall, the subway options in Hudson Square are not that bad at all. You can typically get to a lot of different other neighborhoods through the subway system in Hudson Square. Well, another reason that you're gonna love Hudson Square is the price. So you might be thinking, wait a second, Lauren, you think it's not a expensive neighborhood? I'm not gonna say that, but I'm gonna say that compared to other downtown neighborhoods surrounding it, you could find a more affordable unit in Hudson Square than those other neighborhoods. So if I put the same apartment in Hudson Square versus Soho or versus Tribeca or West Village, it's not even comparable to price difference because it is a quieter neighborhood that not as many people know about. So you can find a really nice apartment for a price that is much more fair than these other neighborhoods where the price is just absolutely out of control. I also do think that recently Hudson Square has been adding in a lot of casual dining spots as well. So what do I mean by casual dining? I mean like really good places to grab like lunch or dinner, like fast casual, which honestly is a problem in downtown Manhattan in a lot of neighborhoods. But Hudson Square has been adding in some like good fast casual options where you have like a lot of different places where you can pick to get lunch or something like that. That's always convenient in a neighborhood that you live in. So these are 10 reasons that you're going to love living in Hudson Square in Manhattan. Now, if there's anything I missed in this video, please share in the comments because as always, I love hearing from you guys.